Alrighty, guys, good evening. Happy fucking Wednesday. Hope you guys are having a wonderful evening so far, guys. Tonight we're going to be doing more of the OW2s. Good. Hope everyone's having a wonderful evening, though. Oh, yeah. Alrighty, guys. Okay. Let's take a look at the tubes here, see what's going on. Probably going to continue with our Smarter Everyday video from yesterday on manufacturing processes, because that's neat and cool and stuff and things. We are not playing Starfield later tonight. I am going to wait for, it's like 5 days. Going to wait 5 days to get the normal edition instead. Take a look. NVIDIA bundle. Probably going to be one for Start. Actually, Starfield, I think, is AMD. Not actually seen anything. Let's see, G2A. Not that it matters, I already have the Invasion bundle. Or you can buy Overwatch 2 accounts, 50 wins, ranked ready. Through G2A. No way. I mean, it was bound to go here. You can find it on... Basically, it's for cheating websites. You can find this easily. But they're selling them on G2A now. No one cheats at Overwatch, guys! Don't worry. No. Potentially, you could buy it if you want to smurf, or maybe you just want to jump right into quick play, or into comp, but this is generally almost exclusively for people that cheat. When they get banned, they just buy a new account. Yep, you guys thought I'm joking. You fucking thought I'm joking. I'm not. Seen any? Right on Starfield Bundle 7-Eleven. The question is whether or not it actually checks to see when the... No, there's no way it does. There's no way it does, because you could be buying old inventory, and it would... And they can't do that. It's actually one of the workarounds to get cheap video games, guys, if you didn't know that. I have an AMD processor. Ah! I have to buy the premium edition. Be required? I don't think it checks. It just checks to see which model you have. It might be limited, so they're only giving away these codes, the premium edition with these processors. So I can't, if I have a 7950 X3D, I can't actually use the standard edition. I have to buy the more expensive edition. Because I don't have a processor that's eligible for the standard edition. Off Overwatch. Battle.net. What is Battle.net doing? Why does it do that? Fuck you, Battle.net. I have it set to efficiency. I can't change the priority, because then it... always messes with the stuff. Fuck you, crap. Afterburner changes affinity. Don't... Why is it doing that? This is more work than I anticipated. I actually expect there to be people looking into this. I think there is now. X3D. Uh-huh. Okay, that's weird. Alright. I didn't even check the link to see where it's sending me. Second guys. Take a look what this entails. What? That's for a coupon code. Still not enough to buy a product with a bad driver, teehee. What? Bad drivers. Since when has this been an issue? Like years ago? Decades ago? AMD having bad drivers is like 2 decades old at this point. That was prior to Catalyst. That was 2000s, early 2000s. Still persists. No DLSS, no buy. Okay, you don't need to buy it. This is video cards, so comment section here is what you'd imagine. $9.99 Game Pass rents you the game? Game Pass. Really? Really? What? Yeah, never release single-player games to Game Pass, guys. Ever. Basically, you can pay to just play through the game, and then, because you're never going to play it again, or if I do, I'll pay another $9, and it's not going to matter. November 6th. I mean, this is really fucking cheap. I have no idea. Like, Xbox has to pay them a shitload of money to do this because I don't know why you would ever buy a game if you could just pay $10 and then play through it and then you're done. Because almost no one plays through games multiple times. And then maybe if I did like a second time or I knew I was going to play through it a lot, then maybe I would purchase the game. But why would you? It's basically a game for $10. It's not like your memories disappear. It's not like your memory of playing the game disappears when the game disappears. If you want to play it again, you just pay another $10. And because you get it for a month, so it's more than enough time to finish it. Crazy. Forgot about that. But it's not the premium edition. Oh, really? Yeah, I did this with Jedi games. Star Wars games, not Jedi games. Really? Really? Huh. Let's make a tweet about that. I don't know why this exists, but yeah. I don't know why they do this. At this point, there's no reason not to tell everyone. I didn't even think Bethesda was going to do this, guys. Post. Perks including in-game content and partner offers. $1 more. What? That's all the benefits of gold right there that they listed except for this one. I mean, I'm not even gonna bother. The only reason that I buy it from off eBay now is because it's might be cheap, but it's not. It's basically going for, from what it looks like, about 40 bucks, 50, 60 bucks, 50 bucks. Basically what you're gonna pay anyways. That's interesting, guys. Unreal. Still exists. I didn't think this was going to exist, but it does. Also, I hate websites like this that are just like... It literally looks like, instead of looking at the page, you're looking like this. Like they blow it up, probably because it's made for a couch. Like, what happened if I went here and did this? Ah, it's almost like what it's supposed to look like, except now it doesn't take up the entire screen. Digest. Now it has white bars on the side. Huh? Yeah, well, I guess I'm just gonna buy it on Game Pass for 10 bucks. You gotta be kidding me. Like, I might play the DLC for it. There's still a DLC coming out for Cyberpunk, for instance. Still coming out for Cyberpunk. I might play the DLC for it, but yeah, like, I don't even need to... Yeah, I mean, it kind of bugs me that I don't own the game. But at the same time, I know I'm not going to play it for longer than a month, so... Like, but also... Like, I get that it bugs a lot of people. It for sure bugs a lot of people, which is probably why the deals still exist. But in actuality, like, you're not going to play the game for longer than a month anyways, so... Yeah. I need to transfer my emotes to Kick, so I believe now you can actually subscribe to my channel. Because I got enough followers for that. Yeah, you can actually... give subs. I don't have any subs or any emojis and add those in. Oh my god, I have panels now. Cool. Okay. Oh. Well, that's neat. Some pixel art, guys, is actually pretty neat. It's pretty cool, but it's not like anything where I'd like actually want to play it. Okay, well, I guess I'm playing this through the Game Pass. And no place did I actually see it as advertised on the Game Pass, mind you. Probably intentionally so. That's a good one right there. Cool. Let's see. Okay. All gaming CPUs are bundled with standard edition. 7950 X3D is not. Got a deal at some point. Historic PC, no, historic game prices. Digital premium graph. What website had a graph? Price history? Nah. Starfield Premium Edition with graphs. Green Man Gaming was 85 at one point, I guess. Ah, and Games Planet is selling for more. Good. Vouchers. Admin. I guess you can get it for 85 at some point. No matter how long it is, you still rent your games. 18 months from now, you don't know what your circumstances might be in. You might lose your job, you might have an accident and need months off, but crucially, you might need that $9.99 you pay Microsoft. I mean, that means you're going to spend $10 today, then not spend $10. I just say 18 months. Game's $100 or $100 is gonna be 10 months, right? Yeah. Like, this just strikes me as someone that has anxiety associated with losing things. %% of the Steam games I own have been cracked online somewhere. Good. Then you don't need any sort of payment plan. What? That just defeats your whole argument. Dude, like the fucking NVIDIA shells here for DLSS. Writing on websites, guys, sucks. Like, a lot of these should be collapsible, and then you can expand the comment section. Look at the parent they're spawned from. And you can't. Best. Well, I guess I can just buy it for 10 bucks. I didn't know that. I guess I don't need to look for a deal. Holy shit. Alright, well, yeah, no requirements there. I do not anticipate we'll be playing it for more than a month. Cyberpunk I spent a decent amount of time on, but that still wasn't that long. I also spent a decent amount of time in Mass Effect, what was the new one? Andromeda? There we go. Alright, let's take a look at the tubes, guys. Maybe we'll finish our Smarter Everyday video on stamping. Not enough samples, benchmark of CPU sample size, 68 CPUs. Okay? What? Production hell. Oh my god. Let's take a look at Critical Drinker. And then we'll take a look at Smarter Everyday.
In the long and sordid history of high-profile Hollywood flops, there are certain movies that stand above and beyond the rest. Gigantic and eternal monuments to the hubris and poor decisions of movie makers. Films like Heaven's Gate, Cutthroat Island, and Super Mario Brothers. But there's one film that became notorious for its massive overspending, creative meddling, disastrous box office, and of course, its deeply troubled production. And that film is Kevin Costner's epic post-apocalyptic adventure movie, Waterworld.
I thought it was pretty good.
The film became notorious for its massively bloated budget, which started out relatively small, only to spiral out of control until it reached $175 million, well over $300 million in today's money, making it easily one of the most expensive movies ever made. And the reason it became such a costly disaster for the studio is fertile ground for another installment of production hell. So grab your snorkel and flippers and let's dive into the murky depths of Waterworld. The film began in the mind of Hollywood screenwriter David Rader way back in 1986. It was a story about a small group of survivors on a waterlogged planet Earth, searching for the last remaining piece of dry land to call home. He imagined it as a kind of low-budget rip-off of Mad Max, only set on the ocean instead of the Australian
Kind of.
outback.
I mean,
Anyway,
it's pretty,
for a few years without much success.
culturally
Various producers
recognized.
considered and then rejected it, including Roger Corman, the king of the B-movie, who reckoned that it would be too expensive to make. Damn, man, the mind boggles at what Roger Corman's version of Waterworld might have been like. Anyway, things changed in 1992 when actor and director team Kevin Costner and Kevin Reynolds signed on for the film. The pair had had a string of successful productions together, Costner was riding high at the box office, and it seemed like everything was coming together at last. The movie was quickly bumped up from a small-scale indie project to a big-budget Hollywood blockbuster with $100 million set aside for the production. Naturally, the script had to be retooled to cope with such massive changes, but Universal were eager to get things moving, and so the film went straight into production while rewrites were still underway. Not the best start, but things were about to get a whole lot worse. The story called for the construction of massive sets to represent survivor communities eking out a living on the ocean. Reynolds and Costner wanted to keep it as realistic as possible and planned to
It's
shoot
noticeable.
most of these sets out on the open water just off Hawaii, despite Steven Spielberg personally warning them not to do it. He tried the same thing during the infamously difficult shoot for Jaws 20 years earlier and knew what a nightmare it could be. His warnings were duly ignored, and the elaborate, expensive and delicate sets were constructed in the middle of the ocean during hurricane season. Guess what happened next? That's right, a hurricane blew up and destroyed the set, forcing it to be rebuilt at enormous cost. Oh my goodness, who could have predicted something like this? Even when the sets weren't getting destroyed by hurricanes, the weather was generally so shit that it was difficult to get anything shot. High winds caused the cameras to move around and blew the film crew out of position, forcing multiple retakes and slowing down production drastically. There were no toilets available on set, for obvious reasons, so anyone who needed to take a dump had to make a lengthy trip back to shore. It was also a dangerous movie to be in. While trying to film a scene aboard a boat in rough weather, the entire bowsprit snapped off and the actresses playing Helen and Enola were thrown into the water, forcing them to swim for their lives until a rescue crew could get to them. A safety diver tried to surface too quickly and got struck down with decompression sickness, forcing him to be rushed to intensive care. Unknown to the production team, Kevin Costner's stunt double would ride out from his beachfront home across 40 miles of open water to the set each day on his jet ski, which is a fucking Chad move if ever I've heard one, until one day when he forgot to refuel it and ran out of gas halfway there. Of course, nobody knew where he was because he hadn't told anyone what he was up to.
Not a great plan.
And it wasn't until the film crew called his wife that she explained what had actually happened. By the time they eventually found him, he'd been drifting on the ocean currents for hours. Even Costner himself wasn't immune to
that's
the bad luck
not
on
a
set.
big deal.
One scene required him to be tied to the mast of his boat until another storm came up and blew him out to sea before anyone could untie him. I like to imagine that he had quite a bit of time to think about his life while he was waiting to get rescued, and probably his biggest thought was, what the fuck have I gotten myself into here? All of these various issues caused the shooting schedule to gradually fall apart. Principal photography was supposed to be wrapped after 90 days, but the constant problems, accidents and delays eventually pushed it to well over
Made 264.
150 days.
So made 100 million?
Looking good. But if
I
the
actually
cast
liked the
and crew
movie.
were
I thought it was
unhappy,
pretty good.
then things were even worse between the Kevins. The two men had managed to produce a string of successful movies together over the past few years, but they were never what you'd call best buddies. In fact, they clashed repeatedly on the set of Robin
As
Hood
egos do.
Thieves, to the point where Reynolds was reluctant to work with Costner again on Waterworld and actually suggested going with a completely different actor. The studio were adamant though. Costner, it had to be. But if things between them were bad before, then they were at breaking point with this film. Costner was in the middle of a difficult and expensive divorce, which didn't do much to improve his mood. His $14 million paycheck, coupled with his insistence on staying at a luxury beachfront villa and commuting to the set each day on his own personal yacht, was quickly adding to the already ballooning budget. And when Reynolds screened a rough cut of the film for the studio, Costner rejected it out of hand and demanded extensive rewrites and reshoots. The in-depth world building and character development was ditched in favour of big blowout action sequences. The Mariner character was rewritten from a dark, morally ambiguous anti-hero to a much more conventional heroic protagonist, and the runtime was slashed from 170 to 135 minutes. Shit man, even a young Josh
I mean,
Whedon was
he does
brought
kind
in
of start out
to
that way.
salvage the script before
Much more neutral and more of a thief. I believe he tried to sell one of the chicks that was on the boat, which obviously wouldn't pass nowadays, right? But someone wanted to turn with one of the adult lady on the boat, and he was going to sell her to a guy. He did sell her to a guy, and they decided maybe it was like a couple minutes in that he didn't want to do that anymore and tried to change things and turn into a fight. And I believe the guy died, if I remember right. So morally gray was actually still there as far as I remember, but obviously he develops a sense of conscience later on in the film.
rightly concluding that it was a complete fucking mess, and nothing short of a full rewrite would fix it. Eventually it all became too much for Reynolds, who decided, fuck it, you can do whatever you want because I'm out of here, and promptly left the production. But finally, after 156 days of grueling shooting, Waterworld limped across the finish line with a final budget of $175 million, making it by far the most expensive movie ever produced at the time. And for comparison, Jurassic Park cost just $63 million to make, and Independence Day cost $75 million. And what made things even worse is that the media got hold of the story and wouldn't let go. In the months leading up to the film's release, all anyone was really talking about was how fucking expensive the thing had been. The narrative that was quickly building up around
I guess
the
it's too
movie was
young.
a massively expensive vanity project from an actor that had gotten too big for his boots, and it all contributed to an atmosphere of negativity that it never quite managed to escape. People were practically chomping at the bit for it to fail, and well, it did, bringing in just $260 million worldwide, nowhere near enough to cover the massive production budget. The failure of Waterworld and The Postman a couple of years later put Kevin Costner's career on a downward trajectory that would last more than a decade.
Postman,
Not to mention ending his friendship with Kevin Reynolds. The two men would never work together again. And it's kind of a shame thinking about it now because, well, Waterworld's not actually a bad movie. In fact, rewatching it for this video, I was struck by just how good it looks even today.
Once again, due to the giant sets, which are all made in real life. Everything, well, not everything, most everything was real life, rather than being, you know, obviously CG nowadays, or even just like big sets with a background that's fake. Like the background here is real. And it's almost, I would say relatively easy to tell, but you can kind of, when you're watching something, you can kind of tell when the background's fake, depending on what it is. Yeah.
All of it was done with practical effects and real sets, and whatever nightmares it must have caused for the production, the result is a weirdly ageless quality to the film. It hasn't become cheesy and dated like so many other effects-heavy 90s sci-fi movies have. The action and the set design still looks amazing, and even in the cut-down theatrical version, you get little hints that there's a much deeper, richer, and well-developed world lurking beneath all of this. By all accounts, the 170-minute director's cut that was released a decade later is a far superior movie that's much closer to the original vision, but obviously it came far too late to change the perception of Waterworld being a massive creative and financial failure. Either way, I think the film's a good example of what happens when overconfident filmmakers, high on money and success, take on something way bigger and more difficult than they bargained for. But
it becomes a monument in the art world, which people won't actually figure out is amazing until 10, 20 years later. 30 years.
For sure. Anyway,
years later.
That's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Famous about the 90s, how so many interesting movie ideas were made and how inventive they could be. A world where almost the whole planet is flooded, showing, you know, humanity has adapted is a really cool idea. Yeah, and they actually had like bartering and trading, and like one of the cities they visited had like a governing system in it, and which they got fucked by. Yeah, like, it was actually really cool. I thought it was pretty cool. So, yeah. Practical effects will always be better than CGI. No, there's only so much you can do with practical effects. They only go so far. And sadly, how good the CGI is generally depends on budget, but apparently from some Marvel movies we've seen, they have a budget and they just still don't produce shit. And I've had arguments about that online, and people, the creatives are like, oh, we just didn't have enough time. There's never enough time, and they're always overworked. And that's why things look like shit. There's always excuses for everything, guys. Like, usually it's, oh, you didn't spend enough money, and then when they do spend enough money, like Wheel of Time is a giant fucking boondoggle or Rings of Power, absolutely terrible. Yeah, like, they have the money, they have the budget, and they had the time, and they still shot out a log, so, yeah. Like season 8 of Game of Thrones, they gave it an extra year to get everything just right, and it was terrible. Because the writing was terrible. And it doesn't matter how much your money is if the writing's bad to begin with. The writing's fucking terrible to begin with. Yeah, like there's a lot of people in here that's like a good movie. Wish you could see it, like, it'd be nice if there's a stat for how much people have watched a movie since it came out, and there obviously isn't. There used to be like rentals or something like that, and obviously people don't rent stuff anymore, or if they bought it, you know, it doesn't take into account how many times they watched it. Cool thing about the movie is a giant fortress throughout the movie that floated right outside the harbor of Hawaii. Once they filmed it. Once the shooting is finished, pretty sure they sank it as artificial reef. Yep. I can't imagine that, like, that movie would have been bad if it wasn't practical effects. Like, it would have been really bad. Like if they tried to do it with CG at the time and small sets, it would have just been, and not even made bad, just mediocre and unforgettable. Instead, they made something at the time that people thought wasn't good, and it turned out to actually was pretty good. Okay. Let's watch the rest of that Smarter Everyday, guys, where we're looking at metal stamping. But it's wherever Smarter Everyday went. Recommends, maybe it did recommend it, just click on it.
Whoa, we can't, how you doing?
They're looking at metal stamping, guys,
Destin.
and the production process for it.
Tabitha, how you doing? So she makes it happen,
She makes it happen, yeah. So this is the actual part we're looking at here.
Making blenders.
Millions of those a year. So you run all these presses?
Yes, sir.
So these are the blender blades. Are these done?
These are ready to
They're probably for Ninja.
wash.
They're gonna be washed.
Actually, I don't know. You can't really tell. A lot of the blades look the same, so.
Over there.
I'm washing. I'm rinsing.
Uh-huh.
Then I'm drying.
Wow.
Sterilizing.
All right here.
All of it right here.
So that gets the oil off of it?
Yes, sir. Get the oil off of it. Then it dries it. And then it comes up down. And I package it, put it on the pallet, and be shipped.
How do you know how many are in here?
I have it set on the counter on the machine.
Got it.
Each basket is 2,000.
So it's a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you
Yeah,
too.
I'm gonna steal that from you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Oh.
So this is
Uh-oh.
almost part of the
Uh-oh.
This is
We just saw a trade secret, guys. Right here. Ooh, what is that? What is that?
160-ton press here. This is actually the first. This is.
Thank you so much.
Like an air bladder?
So this is the oldest part of the plant. This
Trade
is,
secret, guys.
This green press. This is a 160-ton press here. This is actually the first press that we bought. So this
one right here?
This was the first press that ran stampings for TNC.
Do you still use it?
We still use it. Yeah, almost every day. So.
This one right here.
Yep. It's a Stamp Tech 160 tons. So usually you can see the tonnage. It's labeled on the press. So this one is a 160
Yeah, because they're like, God, I want to put the tonnage on the press.
330 ton. You know, stamping equipment hasn't really evolved a lot over the past half century.
Stamping is where they literally take two pieces of metal. They take two molds, as you could expect, and then they squeeze them together. And then the metal conforms to, or cut off, conforms or is cut off by the stamping piece. As a TLDR for the beginning of the video yesterday.
Building, that's really the biggest and latest and greatest technology in stamping. But for the most part, stamping presses have been the same.
It's
for
still the
last
same
50
thing.
Years, and this is a good example of that. So,
It still works. It was a
still
good
works.
investment.
Yep. That was probably a $10,000-$15,000 press back in the 80s, and it's
Probably makes that per week now.
probably, yeah. This is the older part of the plant. When we talked about coiled steel, this is how we receive material. So when we receive raw material, that's what it looks like.
So that's not a die right there that we.
No, so this is, just to take you through the process, so this is a dereeler.
A dereeler.
So you have a
Hey,
reel
Marvel,
or a coil
you're such an
steel,
amazing and smart
it's loaded
person.
onto the dereeler, then it's fed through a straightener.
Better
So
stay in school.
Coiled steel has a bow in it naturally because of the coil.
Get those degrees, make millions of dollars, and then donate it to my channel.
It goes through a straightener. And basically, you have rollers on the top and the bottom that apply pressure and straighten the part. Then you have a feeder. So the green part there is the feeder.
It's oiling it. I can see that.
Yep. So that's actually what is pulling the material into the press and through the die. And then you have the press itself. At first glance, it's a pretty simple part, but you actually have a hem on this side of the part that's completely folded over to
That's hard to do, isn't it?
it's really hard to do, and it's being done in a progressive stamping die. So pretty impressive.
So this is all scrap?
This is all scrap. So you'll see these scrap bins beside every press. And this is melted down, turned back into coiled steel, and a lot of it is probably sent right back here. Hey, Donnie.
Pretty good. You could just reuse the... With CNC machine, guys, CNC machine is a drill bit that is moved along an axis and shaves off different parts of it. It's much more difficult to recycle stuff from a CNC machine because it all turns into shavings, although you probably could. But with stamping, like, that's pretty easy just to dump back in a barrel and melt it down again.
You can see it happening.
Stamping isn't super, like I said yesterday, stamping isn't super exciting, but it is something that is, like, a lot of stuff is stamped parts. A lot of things are stamped parts. Because it works great. It's super simple. Bam! Let's say you should put an arrow on the screen, or like show the shape that it turns into. Oh!
So that thing is slamming up and down. How do you keep from hurting yourself on that?
I think this is a Stamp Tech 110, so probably 110 tons. I'm just saying here because I've seen a lot of stamping machines in my day, and the G2 model too.
So if you look at every press in here, they have these yellow bars on the sides of the press. So that's actually a light curtain. So you have a laser that reflects off of a mirror and goes into a reception point.
They actually have safety features on this. No way. They actually upgraded their safety at some point. No way. So you can't just stick your hand into it? Interesting.
And we call it a light curtain.
So if you go inside that, it'll cut off.
That's right. So there's a light curtain on every press in this factory.
Wow. I thought they were just going to town there because, I mean, this stuff's old as shit, and it would work without the light current, curtain in it. But at some point, someone's like, you know, George had his hand minced in '89. Maybe we should put some safety features on here so it doesn't happen again. And they're like $5K a piece. But, you know, we still have to pay George every day for disability, so maybe we should put a light curtain on it. Yeah, maybe we should. And the workers will like us, too. I actually didn't expect them to have... They probably actually... the guy that hosts the channel probably noticed this and decided to point it out because your first impression is this does not have any safety features, which was mine.
For example, but if you break that light...
Oh, you're doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Where's it at? So that yellow thing to that
See
red
here,
thing.
and then back to the
Okay,
corner.
yeah.
Hey, Mug.
Stop. So that's how we keep from hands and arms and things like that.
George.
Cut off. The stamping used to be notorious for injuries and missing limbs and things like that. We've pretty much eliminated all risk of that. So.
That's awesome.
Yep.
So we got a derailer, a straightener, and you said that's recycled?
Every bit of scrap you see today is recycled. Yep.
That's amazing.
The factory is full of these huge presses just relentlessly stamping out parts. It's awesome.
Money. Literally the sound of money, guys.
I can hear it punching.
Yeah, you hear the brake.
He hears the money. That's what he hears. Every time one of those parts comes out, that's money.
Great.
Weston walked me over to show me another press that was making multiple parts with every hit.
This die here is actually stamping 3 parts with 1 stroke, so we call it a 3-out.
3-part with 1 stroke.
Yep.
How you doing? I'm Destin. Nice to meet you, Chris.
Chris is the supervisor over this particular building.
Called a ferrule, you said?
A ferrule. Yep. It goes on a shaft that rotates in an appliance application. Is the slinger running? Oh, it's not running.
What's the loud one that sounds like a dragon stomping?
Okay, that's our 200-ton press in the middle of this particular building. It runs a lot of automotive parts. It's actually an aluminum bracket, so we do quite a bit of aluminum here too, along with steel.
Aluminum's pretty soft.
That thing is loud.
It's loud. This is Tim.
How you doing? So how many parts will this make a day?
It'll do about 24,000 on it.
24,000, wow. Why is it so loud compared to the other ones?
Press is kind of getting some age on it.
Okay, but it's still working.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it works great. It's just kind of old.
You always wear ear protection?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Does it always run?
It only takes you the first signs of tinnitus to realize you probably should be wearing ear protection, guys. When you're younger, you're like, I don't need to wear ear protection. When you get older, you're like, yeah, man, I probably should have worn ear protection because your hearing can come back. But like, if you guys know how your hearing works, it's basically a bunch of tiny little hairs inside of your ear, in your conchula, I think it's called. It's like basically like a shell inside of your ear, and those hairs like wave with sound waves, and they go like that, and they different size hairs for different size sound. And basically, when you lose your hearing, the sound is so loud it actually breaks off the hairs, and I believe some can grow back, but others can't, and then you just lose basically sound range over the years. It's like your ears just burn out. One way to prevent that is not age-related. Well, it might be partially age-related, but it's basically sound-related, which is you play sound way too fucking loud, and then all of a sudden it sounds like you're listening to white noise at night, because that's tinnitus. Yeah, so now you have tinnitus because you decide not to wear ear protection with the leaf blower, so, well, usually not using hearing protection with the leaf blower all summer long would probably do that, or lawnmowers. Lawnmowers aren't really that bad. There's a lot of stuff like power tools. Some power tools are extremely loud, and you really need hearing protection with them. Doesn't take much.
Different parts. I've got another aluminum part, the 107 and 108 I've got to put in after this one.
How many years have you worked here? You said you like it?
Oh yeah, I love it.
I wish I'd have came to work here.
Yeah.
Good people?
Absolutely. They
That's
take care of it.
Do they? That's great. Nice to meet you, Tim. If I understood him correctly, he'll run that press, and then he'll come get another tool, and he'll bang out another,
Correct. However many parts. Yeah. If it's a really high volume part that's going to run every day, we'll have a press that's dedicated to that part. But for the most part, the presses here run several different dies. So this is a heat shield. So the heat shield that we looked at in the tool shop,
Yeah.
that goes on one side of a V-twin engine. This heat shield goes on the other side of a V-twin engine. And these go to the Briggs & Stratton factory down in Auburn. So every V-twin, they call it a mid-block V-twin. Every mid-block V-twin they make in Auburn,
That does not translate to audio on the video. That's loud. It is. There is something happening when that bangs. Oh yeah, I recognize that.
So this is it's not the same part, but it's similar. So the part we saw would be it's a heat shield for one side of the cylinder, and then this is a heat shield for the other cylinder. So you think of a V-twin, you've got a heat shield on this side and a heat shield on this side.
Oh, so I see how it's all happening now.
Yep.
Man, that's fast. How you doing? Doing well.
So this is a piece of scrap that's punched out of the part. A lot of times you'll have a piece of scrap, we call it a slug. It'll get hung up in the die and it won't clear the die.
You can kind of tell how loud it is based on how quiet their voices are and muted they are. That's because the mic's basically cutting, normalizing the audio down.
How big is this? A 275-ton press?
275-ton press.
Wow.
Good. Wonder if they originally had those slides. So you see the roller slides? So ideally, in a certain scenario, these wouldn't even be needed. But they must have ended up in a scenario where like this is getting stuck or to keep it lined up properly. These sleeves look like they're kind of like something new. Obviously not super new, but Like at some point in the process, they decided they had to have sleeves here to reduce the friction between the two sides to keep it lined up properly.
So we'll watch this one too. So this is it goes on the same V-twin engine. This is a back plate. So this is a heat shield that goes around the flywheel at the base of the engine casting. So
this is also a 275-ton press.
275 ton, and he's going to single stroke it. So what that means is he pushes the palm button 75 at the base of the
Guess how he figured it out, guys.
engine casting.
So this is also a 275-ton.
That's Mark II.
275 ton, and he's going to single stroke it. So what that means is he pushes the palm buttons and the press cycles.
Mark II.
So I can see what
Just
happens.
so you can see what happens. So you'll see the material progressing through the die, and
That's
so
awesome. All right, so we're starting with blank steel. Let's punch that hole in it, Chris. All right. Now let's punch another set of holes in it. It indexes. Now what happens? Now it's going to start forming it, or more holes? Form the outside, okay? Now you're going to form it. All right, ready? That's amazing.
Leroy's mom was one of the first employees of the TNC.
Really? Dude, that was the
Like I said, generally jobs like this are family, friends, mainly knowing someone they get connected to get in a good spot, because probably as far as like fit manual labor goes, pretty good pay for what you're doing.
What's happening.
Yeah.
But very limited.
It's a hard manufacturing process to describe. I've tried to describe it to people in 5 minutes or less, and you just can't.
You can't. Yeah. So what's making these presses hit? Is it a flywheel?
So there's a flywheel. We can see the flywheel. So there's an electric motor that turns a giant cast iron flywheel. Every press we've seen so far, that's what creates the energy. That's what creates the force for the press.
So you take electric energy and make mechanical momentum.
Correct.
Is that the flywheel?
Correct.
So does that mean there's a clutch?
There is a clutch. Yep.
So the clutch engages the flywheel and strokes it down.
Correct. Yep.
Even the big one does that?
Even the big one. So every press we've seen so far, and every press really for the past 50 years has operated just like this. But what we'll see on the other side of the parking lot is called a servo press. And this is a press that uses electric motors to actually drive the press.
To bang it out.
And there's a lot of features of a servo press that this press cannot do, and it's pretty impressive. That's the way this industry is moving.
Is it?
So this is raw material warehouse. This is where we receive all of our raw material in coil form, like we talked about.
This is just steel, or that looks like aluminum.
That's galvanized steel. We do a lot of galvanized.
That's a lot of metal, man.
It's quite a bit. We process. I think it's
A lot of energy.
pounds each.
A lot of energy. Not in conversion, but those bands hold together a boatload of energy on the side of it. Because when you wrap something like that up, especially if it's hard to mold or change, it stores a lot of energy. So if the bands snap on them, they actually release a boatload of energy.
Here, so
Like a spring.
5,000 tons, I think that comes out too. But and that's mid-sized stampings. You know, we're not there. There's people out there with 1,000 to 3,000 ton presses, but we're a mid-sized stamper. So. But yeah, we process mostly just cold rolled steel, galvanized, a little bit of stainless, a little bit of aluminum, a little bit of red metal too. So we do copper, bronze, phosphor bronze.
So these are parts ready to ship out.
So these are in process parts. So this particular part, it's a heat shield like we've seen, but it'll have nuts that get inserted into the part. And we'll see that. So we do a lot of manual assembly too.
You'll stake them and stuff?
So yeah, so we'll have PIM nuts. We call them PIM nuts. So they're threaded nuts that
Fletcher.
get inserted into the part.
Evening, dude.
So these are still work in process parts. So they're staged, ready to go into the assembly area.
Are we about to go through that?
What they
door?
should have
Yeah,
done
so this is
is
what we're
taken a finished part along with them while they're going through the process here, and then looking at each step of the process too, which you're eventually probably going to get to.
This is our quick door. So our raw material warehouse is not climate controlled. So
yeah.
this is a way to just contain that cool air during the summer and contain that warm air during the winter. So rather than a garage door slowly going up and down, we have our quick door, and it kind of helps keep this area climate controlled.
How are you doing?
This is the part we were looking at out there. So so what she's doing is inserting the nuts.
How are you doing? I'm Destin. Sharon, nice to meet you. How many
future.
do you do a day, Sharon? 300. That's amazing.
And I look at it, always look at it, and I have to check it and make sure, so I'm looking as I'm doing it.
Yeah, you're doing quality control.
Yeah.
I'm gonna not bother you so you don't get hurt. So she's doing quality control as she's going.
Thanks, Sharon.
Thank you. Yeah. Nice to meet you as well.
So these are our two servo presses. These are the newest, latest and greatest
Oh.
stamping presses you can buy. So
Ooh,
we
the servo
look at
press,
gas
guys.
flywheel that generates the power. So these actually have electric motors that generate the power for the stamping operation.
That's amazing.
Yep. So we'll see if they're about to run.
Yeah.
So this is another automotive bracket. So you have the two studs that are actually inserted in the die. So you have two studs that are fed
As it's going.
as it's going. We have tubes that feed the studs into the die, and then we have a head unit in there that inserts these and actually stakes them into the material while the part is still attached to the strip.
So you'll take two parts and put them together inside the progressive
Correct.
die.
Yep.
That feels like a big deal.
It's a pretty big deal, and it's a big cost savings too, because this would typically have to be done in a secondary operation like we just saw with Sharon. So this way you have a finished part that falls off the press, you can put it in a box and ship it to the customer.
That's awesome. Why are there cages around that tool?
So you have loose parts that are being attached to a fixed part, and when you have moving parts and 330 tons of force coming down,
It can turn into a projectile.
It can shoot out.
It can shoot out. So
Yeah.
it's just a safety precaution. This is one of the few parts we have that there are loose objects being attached to a fixed object, and it's just a safety precaution we have.
Got it.
One of the features of a servo press is that on a traditional mechanical press, the stroke speed is the same throughout the entire press stroke. So if you can look at this press behind us, the stroke speed remains constant through the entire press stroke. But what you can do with a servo press is you can bring the press down to bottom. You can actually slow the stroke speed to, let's say the material requires a draw. If you have a fast stroke, you could potentially tear that material. So you slow the stroke down, draw the material, and then you can speed the press stroke back up to clear for the material as it moves forward. I know it's a little...
That was hard.
Yeah.
That was hard. I've hung with you this whole time, and then you introduced servo presses, and it blew my mind. Okay, so what?
So they slow it down so they can speed it back up. It's a variable speed press. And the reason that's actually good is because on a normal press, it would just be the same speed all the time, which means it'd be slow all the time, right? At the bare minimum where you need to make sure the material apparently doesn't tear, or if it moves too fast, it could cause the material just to tear out or something like that, apparently.
Say it again.
Yeah.
So you go down, you can hold it down.
So you can slow the press, you can hold it down, or you can slow the press stroke down to draw the material. So let's say you have to draw.
Oh, I see.
You're essentially stretching steel. If you do it quickly, you can tear the material. And so what a servo press can do is when you draw the material, you can speed the stroke back up.
I got it. It's a strain rate.
Yeah.
If you pull it too fast, you exceed the tensile stress. If you do it slow, you can keep it in the plastic regime and you can
Correct.
stretch it.
But after so you can see how it comes down and slows down and then speeds back up.
Oh, there's more finesse to it.
Ooh.
One of the features you have with the servo press is what we call pinch.
This is what gets them hot and bothered in the stamping business, guys.
You can see it a little better here. So let's say this is a flywheel, and let's just pretend this was a mechanical press. This flywheel would have to make a full rotation before you were able to come down to the bottom center.
Got it.
Again. So, but with a
Not only is it variable speed, it's also variable height, so it doesn't need to go through a full cycle, which you're seeing it like go through like maybe half a cycle or a third of a cycle here. Half a cycle.
So you're rotating one way.
Probably could actually sum this whole thing up in terms of cost savings, because basically the smaller the rotation, the less height. So if you imagine going up this high before it actually can go and the next piece comes in, right? The next iteration comes in. So it has to keep going up this high. But if the height of the piece changes, depending on what you're stamping, might only need to go up half height, and then basically you're doubling your production speed. Assumedly, you're doubling your production speed, and then depending on the speed at which you're pressing it down, like if you're moving at the same speed, at half height, same speed, but then all of a sudden you're like, if it's going like this fast because of the strain rate, and then you can actually speed up this last half here where it doesn't need to matter anymore, then like you're almost quadrupling your stamping speed. Probably not exactly like that, but it definitely seems like that's the case. So it's actually like this machine possibly, depending on what it's doing, like in that example, is like doing 4 times the amount of work of another machine, same size.
And then the other, and the rate at which you do that can determine what kind of motion you get.
That's correct. So if you think about this as a cast iron flywheel, all of this would be wasted energy. Okay, but with pendulum motion,
also energy savings. There's also that. Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of ways this pays
I want
off.
to briefly describe what Weston's talking about when he says pendulum motion, because I think that's pretty neat. I made this in like 10 minutes. You can laugh at my rig. But if you think about a normal flywheel type setup, boom, boom, boom. At the bottom, it's hitting every time, right? But if we have control over that motor, we can do different things. So we can go boom, and we stop, and we come back, boom. It's really hard to control, but you get what I'm saying, right? As you can see, a conventional press has the flywheel going round and round and round, and this servo press, you can see it goes back and forth, back and forth. You can also see what's happening on the displays. You can see one's going around and around, and one of them's going back and forth.
And that's a servo press. I like the hollow sound when it punches the metal.
Yeah. But the press stroke speed that's the big deal with the servo presses. You don't have to have a constant press stroke speed.
Not eloquently putting it that way, but he's talking about efficiency savings, as we just talked about right there. He's talking about efficiency savings where they could actually potentially increase their production rate quite a bit and then save energy on top of it.
So the studs are coming in those pipes, and they're being fed in directly. If you look close, you can see where it's going in.
Got him. Nice.
That's cool. You can see what it's punching out and in at the same time. So this is feeding the nuts in.
Yep.
Or the bolts.
Yeah, studs.
Studs.
This part is extremely thick, which is crazy that they can punch that. So the physics of even loading that material into the machine itself is impressive.
Oh, there's a laser. So that laser is a proximity sensor. So it's measuring from there to there, and
Correct.
if that distance isn't right, it'll stop the press.
Yes, particularly too short, because that would mean the material's not feeding.
Got it. This is a serious business you guys are operating
Yeah,
here.
yeah. A lot of people are surprised to know that it's here in Athens.
Yeah.
We ship parts all over the world.
Really?
And we
Yeah, that they're still in business because they can outsource the guys to China and for a fractional amount of money. Basically, it comes down to, like for Briggs & Stratton, they're talking about making parts for Briggs & Stratton. It's for them wanting to keep production in the U.S. because they probably could outsource it and to get quality control. One of the big parts with China is quality control. And as such, you apply your own quality control. You can get really good stuff out of China. You can also get really bad shit out of China, right? Chinesium, where they apply their own quality control, which is just make it as cheap as humanly possible, where they make basically a brand new element called Chinesium. Yeah, as you can imagine, it breaks a lot faster. But if you apply correct quality control, then you get something cheaper that's also pretty good. But as far as I understand, production prices are rising in China too because people actually want to live a decent life. And as such, stuff is now being outsourced to India because India is kind of like where China was like 30 years ago or such. But yeah, Collins? What was it? Is that the spot, Colin Robinson? There's very few shows, guys, that make me laugh, but What We Do in the Shadows is probably one of the better shows that I've watched. And I don't know if that's a direct relationship to Colin Robinson from What We Do in the Shadows, but What We Do in the Shadows, absolutely phenomenal show. Love it. It's up there. Archers, oh, they're blocking out another piece, which probably means that proprietary secret, guys. Or the distributor, whoever they're making a part for, doesn't want people to know about that they're making it here in a factory.
Just do it right here and ask them.
That's amazing.
Am I hitting the right spot, Colin Robinson?
So this
Is that the right spot?
So we can't show any of this behind you.
You can show it from a distance. I'll get the part and we can look at it.
I'll just blur it out.
Okay. Yeah, so this is an electric motor mount. So what you have is really, and we just do it right here and ask them. So.
That's amazing. What are you making here?
So this is proprietary.
So we can't show any of this behind you.
You can show it from a distance. I'll get the part and we can look at it.
I'll just blur it out.
Okay. Yeah, so this is an electric motor mount. So what you have is essentially three pieces.
They're doing something fancy, guys.
The U-shaped mount. Yeah. You have the square part here. That's a stamping. That stamping is actually stamped in that small green press behind you.
Okay.
And then you have the bearing. So there's three parts.
So you're making a part that incorporates a bearing, and you're doing it all here.
Correct. Yep. So this part is manufactured in one process.
How long did it take you to develop that process?
When it was all said and done, we had a few years worth of work into it. But
so that's why I can't show any of this.
yeah. There'd be some people that were upset with me that spent several years developing this if I'd put it on or if Destin puts it on YouTube.
Yeah, but once you develop this process, you've established yourself as an indispensable part of the supply chain.
Correct. So our mission is to provide value to the customer. And if we can do that by taking a manual operation and automating it, that's another way to keep jobs here in the United States too. If you sent this part overseas, there's a good chance that those three parts will be assembled by hand. So if we
But they almost also might be assembled by hand cheaper, which is kind of the end game with defects.
can automate it here, that's a great way to keep jobs in the States. And we have the ability to do that here.
That's awesome.
That's the end game. Like I mentioned before, guys, it's everything. It's great and everything to think about manufacturing in the U.S. What it comes down to is making things cheaper, and capitalism really runs the U.S. And that's basically why outsourcing. We are our own worst enemy, and you can talk about what you know whatever you want about American pride and manufacturing in the U.S. America. But at the end of the day, America is also literally about making as much money as humanly possible. Not that I want all jobs to go overseas, but there's a reason for doing so, and some of the ways that they try to offset that is with things like imports and export taxes, right? And regulation, which is kind of weird because the same sort of people that are like America and America jobs also hate regulation, which is basically what keeps them employed. It's kind of weird how people play like even if they're on one side or the other side, like they don't really like cross the line, but they. Like, you kind of have to in order to keep things where you want them to be.
Wow.
So these are
Centrist take, guys.
presses we have.
Dude, this is like an army of presses.
Yeah, so this is, TNC used to be full of presses this size. And they're small, a lot of them are fingernail size.
There's a lot of people. So, if you can imagine this, guys, this is a lot of people that were employed originally.
Electrical contacts and things like that. And a lot of that has gone overseas because you can fit 10,000 parts in a box. It just doesn't make sense to do it here when you can get it done overseas. At
least they're talking about this. That's the elephant in the room.
So we've unfortunately seen a lot of that go overseas. So we're moving in the direction of larger stampings that make sense to have a local regional supplier
But your tooling is a differentiator, right?
It is. So
Like you guys make the tooling.
correct. So the majority of the tooling you see on this rack, we build. A lot of them are 40, 50, some of them 60 years old. So we have hand-drawn prints in our quality department. That tells you how old some of these parts are.
Do people call you and say, hey, I need 10,000 of this widget?
Yeah, so this is an electrical contact here. So this is a brass part. The way our business model works is our customer calls or sends in an order. Let's say they need 10,000 pieces. We'll pull the die, we'll put it in a press, we'll run the 10,000 pieces, put them in a box and ship them. So, and we may keep inventory, whatever kind of stocking agreement we have with the customer.
Also, there's a good example, guys, why if you order a custom part or you order something that's very, very select, you have to order in giant bulk numbers. If you've done anything in manufacturing at all, probably most of you guys haven't, but like if you're ordering a custom part for anything, oftentimes you'll run into a mock, so minimum order quantity. And that's because in order to get them to make like a company to make stuff, they have to put in a special order, which costs money and has overhead associated with it. And he basically just described a mock, which is basically 10,000 parts or something like that.
Do you own the die or does the customer own the die?
In most cases, the customer owns the tooling. So it's an asset that they pay for.
Interesting.
We build,
I thought they would pay
and,
pay for it.
Essentially, they have the right to come in here and get it and take it anywhere they want to. But if we build the tool,
They
we're
pay-
familiar with it, they trust us with.
So they pay to have them build the tooling for them, and then so they sink the cost in that, and then they just, I guess, rent space or something like
So they
that.
keep it here, run the parts.
So it's a relationship.
It is a relationship, yeah.
Weston then showed me the quality control department. They used a big device called an optical comparator to measure the parts after they're made. They also had a very interesting coordinate measuring machine that used cameras and tracking. I'd never seen one like this. It was really cool. This is the room where TNC Stamping makes sure that all the parts are made to spec. If you want to see a lot of stuff like this that I didn't put in the main video, I'll leave that over on the second channel. But for now, I want to show you something really cool. On the way out the door, we walked by that first progressive die I saw when I walked in the shop, and I realized I had no idea what this was. I knew they did stamping. I didn't even know what stamping was, and now I kind of can see what this thing does. It just looked
He
like a
probably knew
city
exactly what was
first,
going
like a
on,
little
but
landscape.
he's the host of the
But
videos,
now
so
I can see the punches, I can see the breaks, I can see all the different things, and this represents a really cool movement for me, a movement from ignorance to knowledge to understanding.
this is the shtick. He's big into educational channel, which I don't have any problems with. So
series. We're gonna do a lot of stuff.
Ah!
Like this. We're gonna learn about manufacturing in America. And, if you want to learn,
what about manufacturing in China, Desden?
Email list.
What about
and I'll
manufacturing in
email you
China?
when I make a new video. I think it's gonna be awesome. Big thanks, by the way, to patrons of Smarter Every Day.
He does make some really cool videos. They're usually too long to cover my channel, so we don't really watch them. I like his series though.
If you have a sheet metal part you want to do at incredible volumes,
Some of them are much cooler than other ones.
Metal progressive die made,
But
and you
good.
can do it right here in America. If people want to work with you guys, what do they do?
Yeah, they can check
plug.
out our website. You can find
They have a website?
our, contact information on there.
Don't have to get out the
Email,
Rolodex?
give us a call. We have a contact us email you'll find on the website. Send us any kind of engineering prints you have, material specifications, volumes, and we'll take a look at it and see if it's something we can do. And if you're interested in having stuff made here in America, that's right. That's right.
And that's tncstamping.com. Spell out the word and.
Spell out the word and. Correct.
Yeah. Give Weston a call. Get your stuff made here in America. That'd be awesome.
All
Thanks,
right.
dude. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Dustin.
All right. I hope
Go
you
up,
enjoyed
guys.
this, the first video
Neat.
in the Smarter Everyday Manufacturing series.
like I said,
Very excited to share
stamping
some
is
stuff with you in the
not
future. So feel
super
free to
interesting,
subscribe
as you guys
to
saw in the
the
videos. Some parts
channel.
are pretty dry. I mean, they tried, like I said, if they took the finished part along the entire way and like showed you the individual pieces that were being made of it, it probably would have been more interesting. But for the most part, even then, you can kind of figure it out. But it is extremely common. Like this is like for making parts, stamping is an I think it's the most common form of manufacturing. Like as far as like backbone goes, it just like you saw how many parts they're just making, you just pounding them out constantly, which is important. Anyways, okay, let's move along, guys. Cool. Let's take a look at the Reddits here, guys, and we're gonna play some Overwatch because Colin Robinson apparently did not like me watching Smarter Every Day, so good. Longer video too. What were we doing prior to that? Why did I spend so much? Oh, we were looking at Starfield deals. I want to pay for the battle pass. Microsoft Rewards route. Accumulate points by using their search engine, 500 points a day. To use Bing, you have 1,800 points. You can redeem 200 OW coins that accumulate for each season. Yeah, I'm not doing that. Pay my $10. There's also web browsers that will... Brave browser, they'll pay you crypto for using the web browser. If you're interested in that, too. A small amount of crypto. I still think it's around. Brave browser. Well, browsing. Brave browser. Like, they replace built-in ads with their own ads, and then they pay you in crypto. It's actually kind of cool. I don't know how much it pays. How much does Brave browser pay? Worth it? $36 a month. I mean, depending on what country you're in, that's a lot of money. As you browse for 12 hours a day, almost no one browses the web for 12 hours a day. Actually, I spend a... Maybe this depends on your productivity, so maybe that's actually possible. I browse because of my jobs. I actually use the internet a lot, but it's usually through multiple tabs. It's through multiple tabs, and like switching windows constantly, so maybe... I wouldn't do it, though. Quality of life, guys. But depending on where you live, $36 a month might be a lot of money. Amazing Mercy, picture of my Mercy cosplay. Oh my god. Oh my god. Reprint. Or repost. Have the cheekbones. Mercy has very square face, rectangular face. Okay. AMD Reddits. We will be playing Starfield in 6. We'll be playing on the 6th. Okay. Here. DVD Reddits. Last 24 hours in a nutshell. Okay. Thank you, Pass PTB. I don't know what that relates to. There's turrets you can set up, sentry turrets you can set up for the alien to drop them out of their movement form. Alien's not actually that strong. A lot of people think they are. A lot of people aren't very good at... Dead by Daylight's a very weird game where you have a majority of the player base that's actually not very skillful. because it doesn't take a lot of skill to actually play Survivor, and as such, I think a lot of things are OP when they aren't. It's like, if you take like the lower 50% of the player base, 60% of the player base in Overwatch, and you stretch that out to 90% of the player base in Dead by Daylight, 95% of the player base in Dead by Daylight, that's basically what you'd have. It's like the amount of skill required to actually do well on Survivor is very minimal. So much so that you don't even realize what you're doing wrong when you're doing it wrong, because you just basically ride on the coattails of your other Survivor friends, and sometimes multiple people doing things wrong. They can make up for mistakes that each of them make. Best chapter ever! Okay. Alright guys, enough of the shit. Let's move along to the OWs. Time to Gamaz and see how many cheaters are playing. Alright guys, I gotta wash my coffee cup out and grab a soda and get some water. I'll be right back. 1 second. Water. Alrighty, guys. Tour. Good. Yeah. What sort of cheating we gonna get tonight, guys? Let's find out. Oh yeah, the finger cam. Oh, I know you guys love the finger cam. Oh my god. Turn on our VRB. Some point here, guys. At some point, NVIDIA is going to release a new modder, and I'm going to buy it. Still working on the piece of shit from years ago. Yeah. Okay. I guess we aren't going to get to practice. That's fine. Like, the one time you actually need to spend some time in... jerking them off. It's actually incredibly difficult to maintain Prestige 4, 5. 5's impossible. I've only seen one Prestige 5.
Strike from above.
Even streamers don't get Prestige 4 or 5, so you have to pay for it or something. Everyone basically has to give you upvotes every single game.
I've never been more ready. Dream of a perfect world. Press the attack. 2, 1. Round 1.
Ready.
Up and away. Commence combat operation. Hungry for a fight.
Drop, guys.
Shake it off. Increasing altitude.
There he is. Our Hanzo friend might have some sus shit going on there. Ah, our teammates just decided they weren't going to do anything on the point. Okay.
All systems nominal. Taking to the air. Repositioning.
That's ours?
Enemy over here.
Trying to run away. We didn't get the missile in time.
Up and away.
So the Hanzo doesn't miss. Fuck you think the guys... What?
Oh, I'm gonna shove them in a locker.
Yeah.
En route.
No. So pretty sure the Hanzo's cheating. Yeah. So obviously projectiles will miss if you travel in a straight line and have sustained velocity. where prediction starts coming in. Just leading. This queen ran away. Alfonso. Bar is also incredibly accurate at all times. Shoot.
All systems nominal. Increasing altitude. I see an enemy.
Looking at me through the floor. So, Alari's cheating from the looks of it. Hanzo might also be cheating. We'll take a look at it at the end. Definitely looks like it is... projectiling, but... Good. Yeah.
Things were a lot simpler when I was robbing banks with the deadlock gang.
Yeah, with the maybe paid for a service to give them endorsement. Like I said, rank 4 endorsement is incredibly, incredibly rare. Same thing with rank 5.
Work together and we can overcome this.
Try and line of sight. Off.
Well deserved.
He has like no HP.
Repositioning.
I don't know what. I can't actually get in there, so. Oh, they would have actually killed themselves if someone stepped on that pedal. Or would have killed myself, excuse me. Killing the tank's basically the same thing though, so. Unless our entire team runs away, in which case we are not fine. Kinda what it looks like just happened. So, beating Hanzo is now on McCree. Oh. So, Alari very certain is cheating. Hanzo still not certain on. That's a Hanzo. Good. And 2 tap. Actually, she's not super horrible, but this is like a fish in a barrel map, so. Off Alari. One. Good. Good, good, good.
Score 1-1.
I need to transfer my emotes over to Kick. I still haven't done that, guys. No. I transferred my bio and shit over. So. Yeah.
What has been going on in Egypt?
Good.
Just a few ghosts I'm laying to rest. It's nothing to worry about.
I always worry on
15 kills. There's definitely a new cheat too that is a last hit. We've seen it in the last 2 weeks or so, where it pops up, where aim will instantly snap to someone that is one shot and finish them off, and then snap back to the original target. Aria.
Enemy over here. I see an enemy. I need to
Times we can get doodads to fuck with their aimbots. As stupid as it sounds.
enemy here.
Now we want to point out. Good. That is the Hanzo. Through walls, good.
I don't stay down. Enemy over here.
Oh, dude. What we're trying to do is line of sighting and fuck with their back lines. Attempt to. I need the rest of my HP before I can do anything with my Q. Thank you. And the Life Weaver decided to hop off the top, guys, right as this is going on. Good.
Increasing altitude. I look after my own.
He fucking ran away from the Ryan. Ah, we saved Ryan, guys. That's hilarious. We just successfully saved Ryan. Ah.
In range of the objective. Form up on me. We're outnumbered.
Lost line of sight. Bunch of people through walls again.
Shake it off. Aerial positioning underway. Enemy here.
Might as well. Yeah, and 100% accurate Alari. Okay. So we're gonna report Alari, then we're gonna take a look at. Actually, she's not even that bad. We're gonna take a look at both the DPS. Casually watching people through walls. Still watching people through walls. Fire strike from the looks of it. So this guy. Let's see. Hanzo? Which Hanzo? Okay. This is late Hanzo. Which is also the Junkrat. Not play comp. Oftentimes what you'll see, guys, with people that cheat is they'll play almost no competitive. Or very, very little. Like this guy, no competitive, or like they play everything else. This guy literally plays everything except competitive. Bronze. Yeah? You're not bronze, plat. Not that it has anything to do with who I report. I don't care. Cheat at all ranks, guys. It doesn't mean anything, and then they can buy accounts too, so even less useful. Then on the soldier.
Ready for battle.
Hanzo.
Ready for battle. This is the final round. You're dead.
Trying to shoot through the little center area. So I originally thought this was actually the other guy that's playing him. Otherwise I could have pursued that. free aim, but in a likely spot. Like he's tracking the Moira. Right here. Spot on.
The objective should be ours shortly. The objective should be ours shortly.
Wasn't particularly that, as the nice. Lots of spam at normal spots.
Good looks are not enough.
Yeah. Those guy actually did the most damage. He was playing Junkrat for the majority of the match, though. That was cheating, as was Ari. That looked relatively normal, though, except for the weird spots where it looked like he's looking at people through walls. Sometimes it just happens to be that way when people are moving in a certain direction, other people are moving in the same direction, and they end up looking at the same spot. But he's also doing predictive shots, too, where he's just spamming an area he knows people are going to walk out from prior to the match. He's doing it, like, down center.
Strike from above. Into the air. Double well deserved.
You'll actually find, like, when people are using a wall hack, you'll find, like, null spots where they won't even bother spamming an area if they don't know they're going to hit someone. It's like it amounts to misinformation too, because people that get really good will then start feeding you misinformation, where they'll start doing stuff because there's no error. They know there's error involved with people that do cheat, like don't cheat. So when they do cheat, they have to introduce error into their aim. Predictive error. Next game. Good. Yeah, so kind of weird, but like it is very, very, very difficult to get 4 endorsement, and 5 endorsement is basically non-existent. I saw one person with it, like what, 3 days ago or something, 4 days ago. Occasionally you'll see a 4 endorsement.
What have you been up to? Oh, you know, surviving. And how's Murphy? Doing much better.
Now that you aren't feeding her scraps all the time.
People often ask me to explain escape velocity at parties. I don't go to many parties.
Affirmative.
People often ask me to explain escape velocity.
5, 4, 3. Thanks. 1. I will not let you alone.
That's not good. We're gonna drop. And we got booped for like 50 damage on the way down. That's unfortunate.
Let me take care of that for you. On to the next one.
Very unfortunate.
Okay, my head's in the game. I am on power.
I think it's the Mercy.
Excellent team. Heads up.
A headshot? No, I'm pretty sure I got a headshot by the McCree. And then body shot by the Hanzo.
Always more to learn.
Okay.
Enemy vector calculated.
Establishing aerial position.
You gotta be fucking kidding. Where the fuck did their tank go? I have no idea. Did they kill the tank? Kinda ran away or got pulled away. I don't know what happened to the tank. Got stuck in it.
The barrier's weakened.
I play other characters other than Pharah? Not right now. I really enjoy playing Pharah. Otherwise, other projectile heroes. I've played other projectile heroes. I used to main Mei as well as Pharah in Overwatch 1. But then in Overwatch 2, they kind of fucked her, so. They should just try going over the top of the point and kiting them around the side.
I don't stay down.
We're gonna go like this. Go over the top of the point, and then we're gonna kite them back. Aggro. Run away. Back to the point. Oh. So we kited 4 of their teammates away from the front gates, and all they were left was a tank against basically our 4 players, and they couldn't push in and do anything with that, which isn't good. Trying to get line of sight to 2-tap me. Yeah, so McCree's probably cheating. Take a peek. Oh, they're just trying to BM at this point. Go back to the front gates immediately. Accurate McCree. Check for group.
Shake it off.
Don't know whether or not that the error message pops up with or without them being in a group, so.
Increasing altitude. I am empowered.
Good. Second groups, dude.
I don't stay down.
Get the point. So, like, the kick in the nuts there is basically when we cutted their entire team around the backside, and our 4 players could not deal with their tank. Well, their entire team was chasing me down on the point. For some strange reason, people get absolutely bent out of shape when you do it. Right. I'm pretty sure both the DPS were cheating. We're going to take a look at this. Specifically the McCree, and then also the Hanzo too on top of it. But it didn't help our team didn't seem to be capable of actually getting the gates either, which is unfortunate. Cracking at Z height. Chest is obstructed, can't actually shoot anything. You know, because aimbot can't lock on when chest is obstructed. When this should be more. If you're good at snapping, guys, like her top torso or bust, I guess you could say, was exposed, and you can't hit shit. And the reason for that is because this is actual aim. Usually works in the opposite direction, which is when your chest and head points are exposed. Depending on how the aimbot is programmed, if your center head and your center chest are not exposed, they can't lock onto you either. Not very good. That's where I was after I got pushed up in the air.
Thanks, Doc.
Barrier is splintering.
Misses a lot of shots. Miss or percent miss.
Disrupting.
So this is the shit we're looking for right here. Which is where it looks like he's reacting to the Sojourn behind the wall, which you can't see. She just shot from in here, so you think she'd be right here or right here. He'd be covering the angles. He's not. Then he reacts to her sliding.
Coming through.
Okay, hit ridge misses.
You have my thanks.
Much obliged.
The barrier has fallen.
This ends now.
You're stuck. The universe is speaking to me.
fucking watching. So, like, he's throwing misinformation in here from the looks of it, but he's also watching me through walls at the same time. Like, were they on comms? Like, quick play hardcore comms or something? Like, when I went over the top of the roof, he's already reacting to me going over the roof. Like, he's backing up and going back into the point. Who the fuck even pointed me out? They were all in front. The Hanzo, maybe? Watching me again, and then he acts like he's not. He's looking over here. But even if you're like listening to sound cues, you know I'm not over here. You know I'm somewhere over here. Reaction time. That's basically where we kited their entire team backwards, guys. Their entire team went backwards with me. This is one of the reasons you do this, is to get them off the front gate so the choke point lets up if you can actually make room in the front choke point. Maybe 3 or 4 of their teammates, 4 at the end there, were chasing me back here to the point, which should have given our team more than enough time to overwhelm the tank at the front gates, and they didn't. Like, because they're all just chasing me backwards, including the bridges here, too. And what are they doing? This is where I knew he was going to come over and try and two-tap me. This is where people get BME, where they, like, the one thing you can depend on, guys, with people cheating is ego and hubris. And they'll always try to fuck with you if they know they can. Like, haha, I got you good. You went around the backside, haha, I got you good. I'm going to show you now. And it looks like he's tracking me through wall prior to the infra arrow going off. He's tracking me through the wall right now. So I was originally saying that this guy isn't cheating. His aim looks relatively bad, but that can generally be the case depending if they're farming accuracy or not. So if they don't feel the need to turn on an aimbot, one of the things they do is we'll tank their aim by missing a bunch of shots. So they'll set their percent miss low or high, depending on how you look at it. They'll set their percent miss high because they don't need to give a shit. That allows them to cheat for prior games where they actually have to try, basically, is what it comes down to. And this guy's going to come over and try and two-tap me because he's overextending. This is like someone having an ult. He clearly doesn't have an ult, but he wants to show me good. And I knew exactly what's happening. I even mentioned this while it was live, right? While the match was live, that he's going to try and two-tap me, which is exactly what's going on here.
I'll find them.
He lines me up prior to coming around the corner. Prior to even seeing me, he pre-lines me up through the wall. Like, you can just tell this shit's going to happen.
That'll get it done.
Then, like, he's watching me, and then he acts like he's not watching me, and then the infra arrow goes off.
Enemies there. Let's clear them out.
Like, it's almost a linear follow of me behind the wall. Like I said, I thought originally that this guy wasn't cheating, but now it definitely just kind of looks like he is. This combination of this mixed with earlier where he manipulates around the edge of the wall, and then the sojourn as well, where he just clearly snaps to the sojourn. Height.
Thanks, Doc.
Again, he's turning his camera to look at me. Not exact positioning though, but good cheaters won't look at exact position.
Got a burr in your side.
The barrier cannot withstand much more.
Wall. He's double flicking now. Usually what happens when their aim gets shaky. Still missing a shitload of shots. That's where the Hanzo's aim was getting really sketchy. He's doing like micro flicks that always snap at the right spot. Now he's hitting all of his shots. I mean,
I'm fired up right now.
3. That aim was not what I'd consider aimbot worthy. So when it comes down to percent misses, guys, so where you set the aimbot up to miss, depending on how the cheat is made, the misses will be equally distributed around the character because they have a set variable for it. And they could change that for sure, but they're generally almost always the same distance around the character. And what you saw there is almost like he was trying to miss characters, like he was aim training to miss people or something. And he's aim training to miss characters or something. Actually, you got a decent amount of damage if I remember right. Not super amazing. His aim was super fucking far off. Let's take a look at the Hanzo now. Hanzo wasn't really like anything super particular. And also, I need to check teams earlier so they don't go, haha, you're losing, that's why you're checking. Goes.
Keep your head above the clouds.
There's much for you to do.
Can't hide.
He can't see me right now. He still can't see me. He's looking at my Z height. So this guy's definitely cheating. So he can't see health bars because he hasn't shot me. If you shoot people, you can see health bars. You can't see health bars prior to that, and you can't see names in the game, as far as I know. It's always one of those things where you just overlook. It's a piece of information you overlook. He can't see my health bar. He still can't see me. He's already moving to intercept me. He still can't see me. This is right before I'm about to come over the edge of the tower, so maybe you can see that speck right there. But he can't see me and he's looking at my exact position, so this guy's definitely cheating. Much more of that. Not always, but we fucks, guys. Like, when I was playing Dead by Daylight, guys, the people that we found that cheated the most are always the people with deplorable names. So people that have really, really edgier names you know you shouldn't have, like Come Dumpster 5000 or stuff like that, or like stuff that's basically close to non-PC, very non-PC things. They'll have their name followed by the weebs. I guess it's something with, you know, being brought up on anime. You think you're supposed to be the next Hokage or something, and if you aren't, obviously you just play like everyone else and just gonna cheat. And then the third one was what was the third category? Oh, there's 3 categories. Mainly the deplorable guys in Dead by Daylight. In this game, it's mainly the weebs. Ah, it's a burner account. Okay. There. Next game. Fun! Fun, fun, fun! Fun, fun, fun! Oh my god, so much fun! But I used to play Mei back in Overwatch 1. In Overwatch 2, she was gutted, and they removed her CC, basically ability. I didn't answer that question fully. They removed a lot of her CC, besides her ultimate, which most people can get out of. And then they nerfed her wall, so if you have a competent teammate, a competent team, they can break the wall, and then you can get out. What's going on? Where her wall used to have 400 HP, I believe it has 250 now, which makes it much, much more... Either it used to have 600 HP, it used to be really tough. Much easier for people to get out. Where they don't get out is where their teammates don't help them. So if a tank gets split, people don't help break the wall behind the tank so the tank can escape, and as such, the tank usually gets fucked. I was playing Mei back in Overwatch 1 in like Season 1 and 2 and people had no idea how to play her because she didn't directly contribute to damage. So because she didn't directly deal damage, people are like, oh, she sucks, and that's not the case at all. She's heavy utility-based area control, area denial. Very, very cool in my opinion. Definitely had an Apollo that cheats, and Apollo is not really a super... That should not be in our lobbies. Apollo's not a super uncommon name, though. That's weird. By the way, comp ranking is not the same thing as your quick play ranking. There's two different ranking systems, and you can definitely be higher in one than the other. So sometimes you'll see weird shit where people will show up with like really low ranks in my games. Normally we play with top GMs / masters and top 500 occasionally. Or occasionally masters, depending on how you look at it. When a gold shows up, that's questionable. Get his boost up? Nope. Oh! Oh, come on! He got the railing! No! No, the railing caught him! No! Oh, that was almost a great stagger. C4. Okay. This is gold lobbies. Yeah, well, we're probably gonna get top 500 players now.
Negative. Negative.
Yes.
No. Repulsion.
Alright. So, possibly actually a gold. I don't know why we have a gold. Diamond or master, depending on what they're playing that what. Dead yet? Start overtime. Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay. Well, this is an interesting game going from us getting absolutely rolled over by cheaters to whatever this is. I'm trying to get some like super hardcore backfills at some point here though. Wasn't writing. Weird thing about games like this, guys, is like I don't like when they turn into just like rando shit shows, because then like people get angry when you start trying and such, when you can just play like
Victory is close, but don't go easy on them. Taken down.
The objective is now active.
idea where the Hanzo went.
Establishing aerial position. All systems nominal. Repositioning.
So when do we start attacking, guys? When can we attack? When do we stop attacking? When do we try? When do we don't try? I don't know.
Match this BPM.
There should just be a button where you can just vote to have the game restart or something. Voting to surrender, I think, is dumb because people would always fucking do it the moment things go wrong. I don't think vote restart would be a bad thing. Are these all going to end up on point? No. I'm literally the first thing that's going to die if this turns south. I can guarantee you. That Widow is literally just going to put a shot in my brain. God. No, fuck off, Widow. I can hear your evil clip flops. Dude. Okay. Enough of this. Fuck this shit. No, we aren't going to sit here for the next half hour while people want to go into overtime. Which is the weird part, it turns it because now I'm the bad guy, right? Our custom lobbies waiting for you. My transgressions were literally the Pachi. Ah, fun. Okay, well, next game. And there's that, whatever that game was, so.
Strike from above. Taking off. Double kill. On the move. Maximum impact.
Next game. That.
Strike from above.
Okay.
Isn't that what you want?
Master Diamond.
You're still hiding. When are you coming back for good?
I'm trying very hard. Please be patient with me.
I've been patient for years. What's a little while longer?
A lot of these in training range. A lot of things they could have put in the training range, guys, and they didn't.
5, 4, 3, 2,
Hello.
1. Attack commence. Escorting the payload.
Establishing area position. I see an enemy. I knew it would come. Enemy over here. I need healing. Much
Very accurate hit scan.
increasing altitude.
None of that. Right on my face. Correct hit again. Fuck, finish me then. She didn't shoot me, did she? Ash is cheating. Good. Fuck is that shit? We get pre-aim too? Yeah. 100% cheating.
Okay, my
Good.
head's in the game.
Good, good, good.
They outnumber us. Keep
There isn't enough space here to get an angle so I can actually shoot her without shooting, getting myself hit.
aerial positioning underway.
Fun? Love 100% accurate ashes, guys. Just tried to shoot me through the wall. Accidentally shot the diva while trying to shoot me.
There, an enemy.
On the move.
An enemy here.
System repair.
Unfortunately, this map is really bad when people have aimbots, because it's like they can just stand in the open and just shoot you when you come around the corner. You actually missing now? They just fucking threw C4 on me. Check for group. That's the 2-stack, Hoopla streak, oops. DPS and
Establishing area
tank.
position.
Position again.
No one can hide. Must justice reigns from above.
Hey, we killed someone. Wow, that's fantastic. As if I could actually go and be offensive right now. Like I said, people get really fucking bent out of shape when you send an invite. It's actually kind of weird.
Shake it off.
It's like they know you're checking for group and they really don't like when you check for groups.
The payload's moving.
This is a good angle where they can't shoot my dangly bits. Not close enough. Teammates didn't push up. Here's a diva.
Let's show him some air power.
I have the payload moving.
A lot of people that don't seem to be very good at taking ground. Like, when you're presented with ground, you should always take it. Unless you're in a really disadvantageous position. Widow's still there. Fuck off, Widow. That was res. Good. AD strafing for some reason still works, like, not some reasons. AD strafing tends to work really well when people have aimbots. The reason for that is because there's a min lock distance, depending on how they have the humanization set up, in which they basically have to manually aim, and they can't do that. That's one of the reasons they're using an aimbot in the first place. So you strafe in and out of their lock distance like super fast, and it locks and unlocks from you. Fuck her off. There she goes. Come to bottom. Fuck out of here. Gonna try and res. Don't want her to res. She's probably one of the few things that could actually save the point. I overshield. How have they not killed the tank yet? Stay dead. Probably going to respawn. I'd actually still be back there. There's a side exit! No way. Oh, okay. Over Mercy? Yes, they do. Line of sighting. That soldier is very accurate as well now. He's dead. Is there a legendary everyone knows who kills me cheater guy? Is there? Who? If that's sarcasm, tee-hee, just type Overwatch cheats into Google, and I mean, yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. So it is much easier to cheat than get good. And ego and hubris is fucking everything. Good evening, Phil. Good, good, good. And they're basically undetectable, depending on what kind of cheat you're talking about, like, EMA with a custom firmware. Or if you have image recognition cheats, So you use a capture card basically to take input and use another computer to convert it basically to aim. For reaction time despite good aim. Shoot me through a crack? What the fuck was going on there? There's a fire. That's why I didn't move. How the fuck are those registering?
Always more to learn.
Good. Legendary, I hope. I mean, we already get cheat squads that harass me, so. Go over here. Got him around the backside. So we already know the Ash is cheating. I don't know about the soldier, though. We'll take a look at him at the end there. This guy's literally just following me through a wall right now. What kind of account it is. Okay. And the McCree or the soldier at the end. Plat, that's not a plat. That's not a plat. Someone bought. Oh yeah? Plat and not. Is it bronze and silver? Yeah, so someone bought an account after they got banned. From the looks of it. I don't even know why. Like until that like goes off, you basically you have 6 seasons of stats that can be used as evidence against you, and for some strange reason, people just make their profile public. And like this isn't a small amount of games either. This is not a small amount of games right here. Look at this. On a target not moving. The only time I wasn't moving was when I was standing there waiting for the Anna to fucking res me, or not res me, to heal me up. And I thought I was on fire. Right. This guy was looking at me and snapping at me behind walls. That's one of the reasons we're reporting him. Yeah, the soldier was relatively normal up until the end. Good for him. Oh, I forgot to put a poor reaction time down for the Ash, too. Take a look, guys.
Ready for battle.
I see it. Plays like an Ash. What?
The plot thickens.
This guy was a rated silver 4 seasons ago.
Stay alive. Salut.
Hello.
I'm just watching the tank through the wall. Watching our team through the wall.
Helping you out.
Reaction. Doesn't pay attention to diva bombs. Basically plays like a silver gold.
Greetings.
Have the accuracy of a silver and gold though. This is why we didn't see her the majority of the game, because she was getting dicked done by our Widow, apparently. Pre-aim.
No one can hide from my sight.
Good. This guy's not cheating. You don't need to think they cheat. It's not gonna be the difference between me or reporting them or not reporting them. You're welcome to your own opinion. Most people don't. So, like, if you weigh in on a discussion about cheating in any way, shape, or form, you should have already Googled cheats for the game. You should know what kind of cheats are available. You should have went through and taken a look at footage. Usually there's footage available by cheat developers because they love jerking off to their footage so people know what to look for, like how amazing their cheats are. So you can literally find montages of cheaters, actual cheaters, because they show you what the cheat looks like to advertise to sell it. So I assume you've done that already. You know what to look for in the first place, so you have a really good idea. Maybe you even cheated yourself. That'd be even better, because then you have first-hand experience. Yeah, but putting aside the fact there's probably ulterior motive there for not getting people banned, but, yeah. That you can be good at the game, that doesn't mean you're good at finding cheaters. It's like saying good players are good game developers. It doesn't work that way. Or good pilots for aircraft or good engineers. That's not the way it works. Of course, you can take feedback, but that doesn't mean they're good at developing games or finding cheaters in the first place.
Snap. Snapper.
Missing shit. This wasn't a big deal. It was weird up until the end when he was on Soldier. He can't see health bars because he hasn't heard her or the name tag. I don't care how many hours you have in the game, dude. In no way, shape, or form. Like, you can post all the shit you want, putting aside the fact you can buy accounts. Like, one of the things is what happens, so people that I see, like, I realized maybe 6 months ago, was it 8 months ago, when we're playing the game, we were seeing people that were cheating that I reported, that were very obvious, that were in the game still, and doing the same things, basically on the same characters, and I knew it because they've been around. I started blocking people, and the reason for that is because when you block people, it's account specific. And what I found out was there's people that literally get banned, they buy a new account, and then they name change it back to what it was. And then they start cheating all over again. So, yeah. Yeah, like, hours doesn't fucking mean shit. Whether or not you can prove it's even your account in the first place, putting that aside, doesn't matter. That is absolutely poor reaction time. He didn't react to the Widow, though. Now, which is what I was looking at. It is a gold and silver. He's trying to shoot me through the wall.
Every soldier needs a cause.
When it felt like he's starting to get weird. Watching me through the wall. Line of sight. Trying to shoot me through the wall again. Sight. Once again, poor reaction time. Basically bullied him. Becomes a problem when they get on a ledge and they can just act like a turret. Poor reaction time again. Ball. Teleported. Actually, they ran through. They don't do that routinely, but yeah, I get that. 1v1, no. Watching the Anna. Free aim on the Widow. Even see the Widow before he pre-aims her. He has a min-lock distance, probably about 25 pixels. You can actually see me on the side. I don't know why he's looking at the canister. You can literally see when it snaps to my model. There. So we're watching at quarter speed. For it to instantaneously snap across the screen, that means in less than... What's 60 ms? So playback cam is in 60 FPS. That means that is 16 milliseconds. The movement you just saw happened in less than 16 ms, which would be... I don't know how much of a second that is. For it to be instantaneous on your screen basically means it skips. $16,000th of a second? Behavior we're looking at, it doesn't matter how you like sum it up. The behavior we're looking at is stuff that you can't do. Like, no matter how good you get at the game, you don't become omniscient. Your third eye of Jagan does not open and you can see through walls. It doesn't happen. The best you get is positional audio with Dolby in the game, in which you get XY. There isn't a Z coordinate. So if you ever you notice I mentioned Z height. Z height is height. There is no height to volume. So if someone goes up and down on the side of a corner, when I mention Z height and they're looking at Z height, that means they're looking at my exact position at Z height. You can't do that because there is no Z height in the audio. It doesn't matter if you think people are great at listening, because at the end of the day, the positional audio does not have the coordinate. It doesn't have the information in the audio. So you can't hear height in the game. It doesn't exist because it doesn't exist in the W. So like it doesn't, like you can't just go, oh, he's the next Hokage or something, because it just doesn't exist. It can't happen. Like there's no logical or rational reason on why it can happen. And what I just showed you here, guys, is where he snaps in 16 ms. So this instantaneous snap has to happen between one frame in order for it to go from here to my body. There. And it sticks super hard too. And then you can see his reaction time, which is where he just sits there and shoots at a wall after basically I go behind it, because his reaction time's that slow. Or you can see just like fucking shooting at the wall after I go and move up. And then he knows I'm at height too. I could have fell down. He doesn't actually know that it went up, but he's looking at height now. Guy has relatively poor reaction time. That's not uncommon for people that are silver or gold though. Information. His reaction time once again. Trying to shoot the tank through the wall. Trying to shoot me through the wall. Parallel linear velocity and acceleration?
Am I boring you?
Hands down.
Tracking me behind the wall on the way down when I move to the side. So he isn't going back to the main area, he's following me behind the wall. That's also what I'm looking at here. So when I go behind the wall, you can see his cursor track me to the side at the same time through the wall. There. I mean, there is technical stuff that's happening that I'm showing to you guys. The whole reason I'm pointing it out is so you guys can listen and get an idea of what I'm looking at. Once again, following me behind the wall.
I am unbreakable.
Can't save you every time.
Wow, he must be absolutely pissed off. I didn't even see that. Holy shit. Yeah. Hugo and Hubris, guys, is the bane of like every cheater in existence. They absolutely what you can depend on is people toggling because their butt hurt. Like absolutely can depend on it.
My ultimate is ready.
Casually watching people behind walls. He knows I'm at height even though he didn't react to me earlier. So like when I went up is when he should have responded to it, but he didn't respond to it right there. But you can literally see his reaction time. He can't see me anymore.
What a glorious feeling!
He realizes like he's snapping to other people. Reaction is super behind. And he's like, oh, Farrah's up top.
Who needs healing?
And I was hoping our teammates could actually push in, still applying pressure. I mean, you guys are watching at 5:30. I'm sure you guys are related to each other, but you're literally watching me play at 5:30 in the morning. Yes, you're correct, because we're going over a demo. Because I wasn't sure, and the Widow was definitely, or not the Widow, the Ashe was 100% cheating. This guy I wasn't certain on, and which is the whole reason I'm watching the demo. If I wasn't certain, I wouldn't have reported the guy. Now we're watching the demo because I was uncertain about this guy, and I thought he got weird at the end of the game, which is true.
Hello! Come get healed.
Before I died to the Ashe, who got line of sight on me, but I didn't know she had line of sight. I was on fire.
Seconds remaining.
I went around the backside to try and get them off the front, take pressure off the front line. Hopefully we can get around to the edge. Didn't work out. So Ashe insta-killed us. Okay. That was this guy. Alrighty, good. That was, this guy's a plat now, which once again, there's only so much you can do. This is probably his actual rank, but cheating as it goes raises your rank basically about 2 to 3 ranks, and which is what you see here. So this guy started out as a bronze and silver, and is now a plat. Played a significant amount of games in bronze and silver, and now he's a plat. Which explains it. So, yeah. You made a terrible play at the end and you died because of it. It was a gambit. The whole reason I did it, as I mentioned, was to take the pressure off the front line. So, if you make the entire enemy team turn around and look at you, they're now no longer applying pressure to the front area, and then your team can push into the front area and take advantage of it. Ideally, should take advantage of it. Doesn't always work out that way. But it was the end of the match and we weren't making any progress, so I had to do something, which is what I did. Alright guys, we're going to call things here for this evening, though, guys. Good. If you play PvE games, you accuse NPCs of cheating too. They can cheat. Have you played single-player games? Yeah. Do you know that, like, when you play an RTS, for instance, oftentimes when you turn up the difficulty, they aren't actually increasing the AI. The AI can't do things better. What they do is generally give them a resource bonus, or give them a production speed bonus, or, you know, research faster. Yeah. So, no, you generally don't accuse AI of cheating in a video game, but can they cheat? Yeah, and that's one of the ways the developers actually deal with the fact that AI might not be good. Like, later on might not be good, like in Civilization. I think StarCraft also gets resource bonuses towards the higher end, too. Yeah. But you died. What does it matter if I died? Can I do a VOD review? No. I don't give a shit about you. Okay, we're going to call things here for the scene, guys. And by the way, nice ninja name. So you must be in a spawn from Ninja. Congratulations. You'll probably name change in a couple years. That's fine. But we're going to call things here for the scene, guys. If you're new to the stream and you enjoyed the bullshit, you enjoyed the fun, you enjoyed the copium, make sure to follow button on your respect platform. I stream to Kick, Facebook, as well as YouTube every day from late night to early morning, GMT-6. So about 11 p.m. Central Standard Time to about 4 a.m., give or take. Depends on my life, what's happening, etc., etc., guys. We're out of here. I thought this was kind of weird early on, and yeah, he's actually probably a plat. This isn't a bot account. This guy's probably actually plat, but he was formerly a bronze. Once again, that's the benefit of getting an aimbot. Is like you still have shitty reaction time, you still make bad plays, you still end up in bad spots, you still do stupid shit, and at the end of the day, you still end up, you know, aim only does so much. But that being said, that's like 3 ranks. So he went through from bronze, he went through silver, gold, and now he's plat. So it gave him 2 ranks. But basically, still's not teaching him the game. We're gonna call things up. Okay, you mean cheat review. Good. I'll be here. But anyways, guys, we're out of here for the scene, guys. A lot of fun. We had some good games. We had some bad games. That'll happen. Yeah. How do we actually do for, Actually, we didn't do that hot. With people that are cheating, we still have good games. Oh, this is with the... No, that was a different game. This is with the... Recall things, guys. Your top 500? Cool. Means absolutely nothing to me. Alrighty, guys. We're out of here for the scene, guys. Thanks for watching my streams, always. And I hope you guys have a wonderfully fantastic Wednesday night and Thursday morning. Have a good day, guys.